My talk today is called Think with God. Now, what does that mean? Because God is not a thinking being. God created the ability to think for all of us. And some spiritual paths say, stop thinking. It's funny, in the 12-step rooms, they have a sign, in many of them, they have think, 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 and they turn the sign upside down, which is to tell you, don't think. My thought is, we're gonna think. We're not ready to give up thinking. We just aren't. But we can turn our thoughts upside down. We can turn them inside out. And we can just be so simple as to hand them over to the voice for God, the voice of Spirit, to be given back in truth, to be given back in love and light. Now I'm going to read a passage here from 2 Corinthians in the Holy Spirit's interpretation of the New Testament. And it's chapter 6, and it starts with verse 3. And it says, to think apart. Well, you know what? I'm going to start 1 and 2. Let's go to there. That part's not long. Now is the day of salvation. And what is salvation? Except the rethinking of life, the reawakening to who and what we are. Now is the day of salvation, for now is the day that you can choose to think apart from the world. Now, if you don't know what that means, to think apart from the world, it doesn't mean to go and disagree with all the people. What it means is that the physical world is not telling you what you are. The physical world is not telling you what God is. The physical world isn't even telling you what love is. The physical world is reflecting your thoughts. It is a mirror to your thoughts. But the physical world and everything going on in it is not the boss of us. The physical world is not, it's not my mother, it's not my father, it's not my master. The physical world is what I'm telling myself the physical world is. You see, the physical world isn't separate from me. It's what I'm telling myself it is. And so to pay attention to that, every time you look at anything, every time you tell yourself what something means, realize it's you telling yourself what something means. And realize, oh, am I telling myself the truth? You know, when you watch the news and you get riled up and what have you, or emotional and stuff, you're telling yourself what to think and what to feel, as I said last week, based on your past. The world itself is happening, stuff is all going on, and it's neutral. Everything, believe it or not, everything going on is neutral. I'm going to get some cards and letters about that. Shawn, I have some of my posts where I post even possibility of that love is the primary thing in the world. I get, yeah, but Shawn, but it can't be here or here or here. And it's like, let's go with everything is neutral. All of a sudden I've become Course in Miracles today, but it's true. Everything is neutral, and then we tell ourselves what it is, usually based on our thoughts stemming from the past, not from the present. I encouraged us all last week, come into the present, and you're not going to have any information to tell yourself what this is or what this is. You'll have feelings, but you're not going to have information. At least you won't have false information. So let's keep reading here. You can choose to think apart from your experience. As you do this earnestly, your experience will change. And you will find yourself willing to let go of the world, which is great. It doesn't mean you're going to drop dead. It means you will not be attached to outcomes because there will be no meaning. And therefore, all we're left with is experience. And if we continue that with inviting the highest voice, what we call the voice for God, into the experience, then we will keep being shown how to think and where to look. And it's wonderful. It says to think apart from your experience and to think apart from the world is a request that is to be taken literally in all circumstances without exception. This will seem to take practice, but as you practice, the increase in willingness will make the let me read that again. This will seem to take practice. Okay? But as you practice, the increase in willingness will make the practice easier. Here is how you are to practice. As you suffer, choose not to suffer. Let the experience of the body continue without the desire for the experience to be different. This will save us so much headache. And I'm going to read it again. As you suffer, choose not to suffer. Your mom says, but it hurts. Yes, it hurts. Go ahead. Let it hurt. But let the experience of the body continue without the desire for the experience to be different. Rejoice that the experience is not your reality. When you are afraid, choose not to be afraid by remembering that what you fear is not real. It is of the world, or it is born of thoughts of the world. It is an experience, but it is not real. It is not real, and so it is not your truth. When you are joyous because the world seems to be going your way, and today seems to be your day, remember that is not your joy. Your joy is your truth, which is beyond the world. Be happy and be joyous, but let your joy come to you apart from your experience. Let your joy come to you from the truth in your heart. Relax in your joy and be your joy beyond your experience of the world. I say to you, do not look at the world and ask how you should think or how you should feel. This is to believe the world is your Lord. To believe that is to believe it is real. Accept that it is not real by surrendering to your desire for truth. Accept the truth and deny the world. Let your joy come from you and accept not that the world can change it. And the author here is absolutely right. With practice, this will get so much easier. But it's the same way. If I fall down and I scrape my knee and I say, ow, 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 ow. And then I go on to tell myself, well, I fell down because somebody left this out here. And if they hadn't left this out here, I wouldn't have fallen down. And my falling down is a bad thing because it's going to do this to me, and it's going to do this to me, and it's going to do this to me. That is a story that is just not true. But if you fall down and you would let yourself go, that hurts. And admit you don't know what it means. Admit that you don't know how long the pain will last. Admit, I'm here right now feeling this. I'm here right now with this. And now I'm here standing up. And now I'm here walking away. But it is an experience as opposed to something that needs a lot of thinking to go into it to tell yourself a story of why it shouldn't have happened. And how many of us live our lives telling ourselves why this or that should not have happened? And I've had so many people argue with me over the years, and they'll say, Shawn, this shouldn't have happened. And I say, but it did happen. Well, yes, but it shouldn't. And yeah, but it did. But it shouldn't have happened. But it did. But it should. You know, we can go round and round and round and round, and the fact it happened, and I don't know what it means, and so I had to make something up. You get that? I don't know what this thing means, and so I'm going to make something up. And I'll either make up something miserable and long, enduring in pain, or I'll make up something, oh, God is at work and this is just where I'm supposed to be, and da-da-da. And that's just as much of a lie. It's a made-up story. Oh, those guys, I'm where I'm supposed to be is one of my least favorites, actually. I made up a story about when I hear that, well, I'm where it happened just like it was supposed to. And I'll tell you now, it happened the only way it could according to our thinking. It's not about supposed to implies it was predestined. And this is my destiny. Nonsense. It happened the way it could because of my thinking and because of my stories that have led up to this point. Because we could make up another story. Let's face it. Oh, I fell down. Now I'm going to meet the love of my life. I fell down, and now, oh, look, there's $100 million under a bush that I never would have seen if I hadn't fallen down. I mean, there's so many scenarios. I don't know of anybody who found $100 million under a bush, but I do know people who have fallen down. It took them months and years to walk properly again. There's that outcome too. But if I don't tell myself that I should be in pain, do I have to stay in pain? Do I have to suffer if I don't tell myself I have to suffer? My thought is no. And so we're gonna look at this again. As you suffer, choose not to suffer. So if you would choose not to suffer, what would you be choosing? What if you choose the voice for God? Rather than telling the voice for God or God, what's wrong here? I'm listening, God. I'm open and receptive of what this moment is. I choose not to suffer right now, so tell me what I would choose. So then it says, let the experience of the body continue without the desire for the experience to be different. And that's a new plan for us. Without wanting the experience to be different. What if the experience is the same? Ow, 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 ow. But ow is neither good nor bad. The pain is neutral. And if the pain is neutral, then I have pain, but I don't have suffering. You see the difference? And so, because suffering is based on a thought, this is going to last. And I don't know when this is going to end. And it's not going to be pretty. And then we plan out all the hurtful responses the world is going to give us because of this. I have done this. I know from experience. Anybody done this to themselves? And it says, rejoice that the experience is not your reality. So what would your reality be? God. God is my reality. And don't make up anything about that. Just make the statement. You don't have to understand what it means. Just let God be your reality. Because if God is your reality, there's probably no words to describe it. Yeah, I used to have a friend who would say, it was a very higher power-ish thing. And I'd say, what does that mean? That means you liked it and it was mystical. That's what you're saying. But those people who fell down and hurt themselves, it was a very higher power-ish thing. And it's like, no, he pushed me. He whatever. And if I like it, and it's mystical, so I can't explain it in words. Oh, God was here and present. I had a friend talking about a health diagnosis that they got, and it was a stage 1 of a lump. And she was saying, it was a lump in the lung. And she was saying that, higher power, something was there, because it could have been so much worse. And then when it was my turn to share, I said, are you telling me higher power is not there at level 4, and level 3, and level 2, and at death, and at healing? Are you telling me higher power is not present through all of it? And she went, oh, yeah, you're right. See, we throw God out if it's not what we want. Or if we don't think it's, ooh, I'm so lucky. I only have. I said, I also said, maybe God wasn't there because you even got level 1. Maybe you had nothing if God was present. And they didn't care for that response either. And it's like, and it tells me, we make stuff up all day long. We're making every circumstances, every event. We're desperate to explain it. And we're desperate. I mean, at least we're looking to where God is. We're making it up, but we're looking instead of realizing, oh, God is in all of it. God is in every experience. Let me have the experience of God rather than my perceptions. Let me experience light and love and peace and joy and wisdom, whatever the world is telling me. And so this experience is one of God, one of light, rather than anything I'm making up to pacify myself or to upset myself. The news in the past week has been mind-boggling. And the reason it's mind-boggling is we're telling ourselves what everything means. We're telling ourselves, and I'll put it out there, with the president being ill, some people are in tears and they are so upset, and other people are rejoicing and having a party. Let the president's illness be about the president, not about us. Let's stop making everything about us and our vindication in one form or another. Let us ask our own conscious mind to see with God's eyes, to hear with God's ears. And it's not about being nice. It's so that we can see ourselves in truth and light rather than our opinions. Let us have our experience, whatever that is. If your stomach's in knots or your heart hurts or your whatever, go ahead, have that experience without meaning. Take your thoughts out of it and let the light of God into it. Let the light of peace into it. There's not a one of us that finds true peace at the expense of another being, whether we like the being or not. There's not a one of us that finds true peace at the expense of another being. And we might get a temporary jolt. Oh, yes, yes, yes. But it's like, no, I'm still not at peace. Do we want peace? Do we want to know God in and through all of our experience? Do we want God to be in and through all of our experience? What do we want? One light, one power. One light, one power. If you could, would you heal the world? If you could, would you heal the world? Would it be okay if all beings suddenly were at peace and filled with light and filled with love? And it's not that they got rid of their judgments, it's that they no longer had these judgments that based on their past. They no longer, that all beings, we would just not have the judgments as if they had never existed. Would you be okay with that? Or does somebody have to pay for your past upset? Because I'll tell you, as long as we maintain our upset, we continue to pay. We pay the price for our upset, and we can't keep blaming it on somebody else. And it doesn't help to blame ourselves for it. In our confusion, we told ourselves that certain things meant this, and then we suffered. We thought we were suffering before. We actually suffered at the point where we told ourselves, this is bad and I'm in pain. This is bad and I should not have to be in pain. This is bad. How dare they do this to me? I had a therapist once say, we get so mad at somebody and say, you did this to me and now I have to feel this way and I didn't want to feel this way. And so you're going to pay. I still have a few people I'm holding out on, as you know. But it's funny, how I pick and choose, I let my mother off the hook, I let my dad off the hook. I let a lot of people off the hook within my judgments that I no longer need the past to be different. And that is my idea of forgiveness, is when I come to the realization, I don't need this to have been different. I don't need you to have treated me differently. I don't need this. But then I keep finding somebody new to hold on to a grudge with. Somebody new to say, you did this. Why did you do this? I'm in pain because you did this. And I'm embarrassed almost to say, with all that I know, and with my practice that I'd like to believe is a decent practice, that with all that, I still forget. I'm the one that told myself to be in pain over this because you took this action, you had this thought, and I said, you hurt me because you did that. And now I have to stay in pain. Oh, no, don't apologize. I'll just stay in pain. Oh no, oh God, I got it from here. I'm just going to stay in pain. And it's like I'm being given all sorts of opportunities for love. And I keep choosing for pain, choosing for suffering, choosing, but suffering at a story. No, I don't keep choosing just to have the experience. I'm choosing for the story that rips the Band-Aid off over and over and over again. Let's shift that today. Let's go ahead and shift that today. Let us have our experiences without the story today, so that we may heal, that we may heal ourselves, we may heal our brothers and our sisters, we may heal the whole world. The world's going to heal itself at some point. Don't we want to participate in that healing? Don't let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. One light, one power. And so if we keep looking for the one light, one power, even while hurting, even while struggling, if our knees hurt, our ankles hurt, whatever, our head hurts, keep looking for the one light, one power, and with willingness to see it. That's not, well, I'm going to keep looking for that one light. So I'm willing to see the one light and one power. And if the pain goes away, great. And if it doesn't go away, great. But I'm willing to see the one light and the one power. Yeah, I know, but no, I am willing to see the one light and the one power. I can't make you become willing to see the one light and the one power. I can let me become willing to see the one light and the one power. It's going to mean me interrupting my criticisms of you, of them, of myself. I'm going to have to, I can't see the light and the darkness at the same time. So, I am willing to see the one light and the one power. Those of you, anybody, I can't imagine there's more than two, who might have anything you are holding against me, I encourage you to reach out to me. Let us talk through it, so that you wouldn't be there sitting in darkness finding fault with me. I am willing, as a brother, to work through this with anybody who might still be holding me in darkness while you hold yourself in darkness. Let's create the one light, the one power together in our mind and in our experience, so that we don't need the past to have been different. We just didn't understand at the time. One light, one power, going to heal the world. Thank you.